she left.
You working on Sunday, you did a good job yesterday.
When?
At the veterans.
That's your dad. Yeah, good job.
Food was delicious and fun. Well, I guess sisters too did it. Or sisters two, sisters three.
A bunch of sisters.
It was good.
Full of girls.
Really
That's
good.
what I call them. All right. Now we get this game started. Call to order. Stand for the pledge of allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do roll call.
Alderman Falkenberry.
Here.
Alderman Morton.
Here.
Alderman Williams. Here. Alderman Lawrence. Here. Alderman Hill. Here. Alderman Joyce.
Here.
Approve the agenda.
Motion approved.
Will there be any changes? Does anything being drawn off?
Yes, the resolution 1836.
1836. Okay.
It's not gonna be tonight.
No.
Okay.
Then I move we approve as amended.
Second.
Got a first and second in discussion. Call the roll.
Alderman Joyce.
Yes.
Alderman Hill.
Yes.
Alderman Lawrence. Alderman Falkenberry.
Yes.
Alderman Morton.
Yes.
Alderman Williams. Yes.
We got approval of minutes.
I move to approve.
I'll second.
Got a first and second. Got discussion. Call the roll.
Alderman Falkenberry.
Yes.
Alderman Morton.
Yes.
Alderman Williams. Yes. Alderman Lawrence. Alderman Hill.
Here.
Alderman Joyce.
Yes.
Right. Take care of our public hearing number 6.
Ordinance 2018-11.
Overlay 301 North Morton Parkway. Second reading.
I'm sorry.
We look for, sir?
Umbrella. Rubber wood handle. Make a motion.
Yeah.
Moving to close the public hearing.
Was on it over there when you get down to the
Overlay on 301 North Hart. Is that the same?
That's the overlay on that parcel. It's not
hold
anything
up
to do with the
with
sign.
You're talking about this fence?
No, this is the overlay of the mixed use zone on that parcel.
The one up here that's air guys.
Yes, I have been trying to catch the neighbor at home and haven't been able to catch him at home yet during the day. just the overlay, nothing to do with the fence.
Move to approve, we'll close the hearing.
I second that.
I thought the holdup was the fence on the overlay though. That's why we stopped it last time.
But but we've skipped over citizen input and communications and all of that, so I guess I'll just withdraw my motion.
So, I second. What's the problem? I don't know.
We
I'm so
wanted the
confused.
input
I'm
from
not
there.
sure.
One side's required to have a fence. We were trying to find out the other side, if we were going to require them to have a fence, was the last thought they had about it.
Between that house
Right.
and where the air guy's at now.
Yes.
But should that stop the public hearing? Will we have to?
I don't know.
Yes, Martin, all the fences going on? I didn't expect I heard.
It was
I
on the
went to
last
that meeting though, so.
What the discussion was over here is that we didn't have a full clarification on, I think it's a matter of interpretation of where commercial begins and ends, because everything up and down this corridor is commercial. But at one time, everything up and down this road was either commercial or residential, depending on its usage, as long. And that house that's next to Air Care has been commercial continuously since probably, I know from the 1950s. That's as far back as I know. It's been continual residential. Now, the residential to the south of it has now become commercial in usage. So it's like anybody that's in a residential house now along this street, if commercial goes in, they're not required to put a buffer fence up. That's the question. Should they have to put up? I know that when the house that I own next to the car wash was, when the car wash went in, and I wasn't on city council at that time, it was required to put a fence in. And they came to me and requested what kind of fence I wanted. And I preferred the chain link to keep them out of Tommy's garden instead of a privacy fence. So that's the question. Is everything commercial whether they're actually in residential or not?
I know a lot of the other people, most people, not in Chapel, but if a commercial comes in, puts a business in the residential area, they're required to put up a fence. And so we are or not here.
That's a matter of interpretation. I think now we're interpreting it that it's all commercial, whether it's been residential. That's where personally, I think it should stay. If it's commercial coming into what has traditionally been residential and historic residential, the homeowner should be given the option of having a fence or not. That's an opinion.
I like that too.
Well, and just to remember that the current zoning is commercial, is B2 or B?
That one's B2.
Yeah, so the issue then becomes, well, if they were to submit a site plan, could we require a fence between they wouldn't necessarily need a rezoning, but what's before the board is whether they can have this overlay for a mixed use. Again, they've already got, by right, the ability to do a commercial use on that property. And whether they would have to build a fence could be addressed by planning commission when they submit a site plan for that development. But this is just going to change it to now allow not only commercial but a mixed use of residential and commercial on that property if it passes. One thing planning commission did discuss is whether you wanted to impose a condition of requiring a fence before this mixed use overlay was allowed. But if we don't, but I think we're expecting maybe to get some more information from the adjoining property owner. So if you want to do that, my suggestion would be to defer that until you have that information. But
Let's do that.
I'm fine with that. If y'all want.
They may not want fence, but I
They
just
may
think they should have that
Well,
option.
I believe that's what we asked, started with.
Yes.
Just ask them, what, you want another fence on both sides of you, just want one right there, whatever. I think they need to know.
But again, I think if we don't do anything, they could still do a commercial use on that site. And whether they had to have a fence or not would be up to the planning commission to decide.
We're talking about one time having a city ordinance where we don't have one right now where you have to apply to certain rules as far as houses, cars, junk. We talked about having something we really don't have in a play yet, right? Is there something you could put in that where all businesses that come in next to automatically have to put a fence up around their surrounding area?
There's language in our current code that does require when there's a commercial development plan submitted that it needs to have a buffer between it and any residential uses.
So it's there.
But the real kicker is even though that's residential, it's commercial.
It's
Zone commercial, yeah.
I got it.
But it really, I thought it was dual.
I think like Jackie said, to give them the option, at least give them the option.
Or have we just discussing this ordinance 2018-11? You want to skip over this, right? You want to, on this public hearing, just defer it? Or how do you do that?
Yeah, we could defer it. Yeah.
I thought that's what I did.
Okay.
You did. Thank you, Horace. All right, citizen input?
We need to do a motion and a vote on the deferral,
All right,
just so we.
I make a motion.
Second.
first and second. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Alderman Falconberry,
Yes.
Alderman Norton,
Yes.
Alderman Williams,
Yes.
Alderman Joyce,
Yes.
Alderman Hill,
Yes.
Alderman Lawrence.
Yes.
All right, got any citizen input on anything for tonight? Communication from me, it's gonna be right toward the end, because this water thing has got my mind blown from over yonder somewhere. Reports?
A lot of information in my report. I don't think most of it is to do with anything that we have to vote on the agenda, other than the property that we annexed that Mr. Knox has bought, and I'd spoken to him earlier about once we looked at the way that happened last month, that it actually did not pass, and I'll let Todd discuss that a little more based on our charter. Todd, do you care to explain that a little bit?
I think you did a good job of summarizing it. Again, if we have, our charter requires that all items pass, it says by a majority of the quorum, which normally it wouldn't have been an issue, but at the last board meeting, we had 3 aldermen and the mayor present, which constituted a quorum, but also required then that we have 3 votes to have a majority, because also under our charter, the mayor only votes in the case of a tie. So while the vote was 2-1, and if the rule had been a majority of those voting, it would have passed, but because again, our charter says a majority of the quorum, we had to have 3 votes. Mark caught that. I apologize. I didn't catch it at the meeting or even at the planning commission subsequent to that. But then researched it and confirmed with MTAS that yes, when the language says majority of the quorum, you've got to have 3 votes in that scenario for it to pass. So it's back on the agenda for first reading tonight.
I make a motion.
For
be glad to answer it.
Are we coming down to the other report? Okay.
Yeah.
I have, of course, a couple of questions. On the lighting project,
Yes, ma'am.
it sounds great. What is the cost to us, or do we not know yet?
When that group came and presented to us the
Pat?
path, yes, thank you. The way that's structured is they'll be able to work within what our current costs are or come in a little under it. Now, that does not include anything that we may do in addition to what's existing. Say if we see an area that's underserved that we want to add into it, that may cost us a little bit. The cost to us net will be zero.
Do you have my next question, or do you want me to?
Go right ahead.
Here's something else. Under organization and personnel, in the public works, I plan to either outsource or automate processes. What does automate mean?
Just anything that I can do, with all the discussion that went on during our budget time, if there's anything I can find that we could automate, like I've looked into things such as robotic mowers, things of that nature that may keep us from having to bring on additional personnel. Or I'm just looking at all and anything that I can to.
Well, didn't correct me, some of the things we got back, the bids we got back from people, I was thinking that they were just prohibitively expensive.
They were, but after talking to those people, I think the way that we bid it, I think that the way that I bid it, I think that I could do a better job of bidding that project and may come in closer on the landscaping to something that may work for us.
Is that something that you will bring to us, or is that fall in your...
That would be something that would have to be passed by the board. Yes, ma'am.
But again, that's something that I'm just making use of anything free from MTAS or at low cost. Perhaps, if we're doing a study on efficiency within water and sewer, maybe we need to include the other departments as well to see where we could save money and maybe be a little more efficient on some things. Just throw that out there, They may say we could be automated in a lot of areas.
Another question.
I'm sorry to say what.
On the 4-day-a-week schedule, who would run the test on Friday? I think I read this, that Cindy would not be working on Fridays.
That would only apply to the office. A 4-day-a-week
Does Cindy
schedule.
work in the office?
No.
So-
the only thing that would change.
Is Cindy, this project?
Yes. And as far as, whose schedule is what, that's still, that's an idea. That's an idea.
Who is Darby?
Who?
Don't know where I'm reading that.
My son-in-law.
But excuse me, I must have been thinking something else. Okay, my next question then, what is a virtual administrative assistant?
That is, instead of hiring, once again, a person to be here all the time, that's someone that is basically operating from home.
So it's a person?
It is a person, but it's, it's not someone that we hire to be here on a regular schedule, which, once again, significantly cuts the cost of that service.
I sort of understand that, but one thing that just gets me worn out, and I hadn't got it recently, maybe opening at lunch, rotating in between. So people used to wear me out all the time about not being able to get to City Hall during lunchtime when they were off for lunch.
Right, right about the post office, don't do no good.
You know,
I think they got the idea from the post office.
I believe the 4-day-a-week idea is good, but I believe that it needs to be Tuesday through Friday. Friday is a payday. And, you know, that is when people are gonna try to come pay their bill.
That's not a problem to work with that.
Friday is a day. People pay bills on Friday.
so when you talk about this, you're saying that we have no one in the office on.
No, they would be in the office, it just would not be open, they'd be doing work.
Yeah, Chris and I would be here. Most of the city would still be working. Just the hours of
Town
hall would be open till 6, 4 days a week instead of closing at 4 or 5 days a week. Because it's virtually impossible for anybody that works outside of town to do any business from 7:30 to 4. So that gives the people that work out of town an opportunity to get here and do business. It also comes with a lot of internal benefits, but the main reason is to get those people an opportunity to do business here after they get off from work.
Any more questions on that?
Well, on the reports.
Yeah.
Yes. I was looking, thank you for putting the report in there. We have the codes report in here, and after I looked at that, it was one of those things like, I'm not sure I know a whole lot more than I did when I looked at it, although we do have the complaint form, and I understand that. So I thought, I'll just look and see what some other municipalities do, what kind of reports they have, and I ran some off, and they were really pretty interesting. But not only when I found those reports, I found how other municipalities had reports turned into them as well, and I thought, boy, this is really informative. Because I think that's one of the things, we're not sure what's going on a lot of times, and when it's in black and white, so I just thought it was really pretty interesting to see how other people did those reports, and I can show you some of these. I've got the ones printed off on the codes, but you know, they had fire, the police, just different things, and it really lets you know what was going on. And I realized that they just turned that into us about the water, that we just got that report. I was kind of stunned by it.
Yeah.
You know.
I thought we had increases.
And I don't guess, I mean, I didn't see it coming. The question is, you know, did anybody, you know, could we have been forewarned in any way? Did y'all see it coming before?
Yeah, but
I-
we didn't.
I think we've been kind of told that it was coming.
We know it's been bad for 3
But
years.
that made that up a target.
Well, we knew, you know, but I knew it had been bad. I didn't know it was going to be labeled distressed, and this is what we were going to have, you know, this, I mean, I knew it was, you know, and I know some of the, you know, some of the ways you take, you know, the salary out of the 50 that's, you know, goes up and down, but, I think there's better ways for us to get information and reports, you know, and that may use my first emails to people on the new email system to send you some sites to see some of the reports, examples of the way other people do those. Thank you.
I can't remember, who is Sandy?
Sandy is our clerk, our court clerk that works for the police department. She works part-time for us.
She does a good job.
She's excellent employee.
Yeah, I tell you.
His report.
And you know, there's just, you know, just for general information, the fire department activity report, we have from which station. We actually don't know how many's within and without city limits. I mean, it's just,
next with my board.
I'm making that note right now to add in the city and
It's in the
outside.
city report.
So, some of them are fire, some of them are,
Threats, whatever. Any questions on any reports? Do something, bring it in. All right. He can't hear you. Damn true. Go back to old business orders, 2018-11, that, what we was just talking about.
I may have jumped the gun on that, but I think we did defer that one till next meeting.
Yeah.
I got this out of order, I was afraid we're on track
All
now.
right. Deferred.
Yeah.
New business ordinance 2018-13, base zoning parcels 20M, page 101.00, 2091.0, and 25.13.0.
Make a motion. Okay.
I think we need to get a second on it, and have some discussion on it. Ain't got a motion, he wants to second, what do you? Anybody want to second it?
Is this the one from last month?
there was discussion at the planning commission, which was in line with what's in his report to us. Mark,
Yeah, I don't think there's any desire to hold anything up. Once again, the discussion was R1 versus R3. And the whole reason we wrote the PUD ordinance was so that we could not go straight to R3, but have a more protective underlying zone. Mr. Knox could come to us with a PUD concept and get that approved, as soon as he can get it to us. And I don't know if there's been, misunderstanding or miscommunication, but, it would not be necessary to have an R3 to get your 7,500 foot lights. You could do that through the PUD.
But you're asking me to do something on a 10,000 square foot lot that we have engineering and planning and all that stuff going into without knowing that I'm going to get it. So you're saying go spend all this money, then come here and then we may or may not approve it. We don't know, and then your concept is gone. So you're giving me nothing to actually to go off of. I can't plan a subdivision like that around 10,000 square foot lots. It's just impossible. That's why they didn't do it out here on
And you wouldn't
on
have
90.
to. I mean, we couldn't subdivide the property anyway with the way access to water and sewer is right now. I mean, you couldn't get a plat approved right now.
I understand that, but I got to start working to that area. I mean, we got to start going down that road on 7,500 square foot lots. This isn't something that's going to happen tomorrow, but I got to have something to work with here.
I agree, and once again, if we decide to go with an R3, then we go with an R3. The reason that the PUD was drawn was so that we wouldn't have to go with an R3, and we could approve a PUD with that more protective underlying zone. And I can't speak for this board or the planning commission, but I don't see a scenario where the planned urban development that you spoke about that you want to do would not be approved.
So you're going to guarantee me that if I bring you a plan, you're going to approve it?
Of course not. I can't make any guarantees,
That's
but
same thing.
my job is to make recommendations to this board that I think is in the best interest of the town. what I think is in the best interest of the town, and it always has been. It's why we wrote it that way. And, you know, I understand that, you know, it may be frustrating, but that's you know, that's what I'm here to do, is make that recommendation to this board.
What would be, the advantage of an R1
To the,
to the city?
an R1 is more restrictive than an R3. And when you have a situation where, let's say, Lord forbid that something happens to the economy again, and whatever development couldn't move forward, then the underlying zoning, someone could either finish the planned urban development that had been approved, or it would revert back to the R1, which is more restrictive than the R3, and it would give more protection to the town than what an R3 gives.
Right now it's zoned.
Right now, it doesn't have a zoning.
So we're just voting on not to give it a zone.
We're trying to give it.
Or we can
in written-
amend this to an R1 and zone it R1 tonight. And then he can bring back the PUD if
We
we
can't go
choose to
forward
do that.
getting funding with an R1.
You can't, I mean, that just puts everything to stop. That's why the people out on 99 had to go on R3. It's the same difference.
Banking wise, for us to go forward financially,
It has to be on an R3 to make it feasible. I mean, obviously we need tax money here. Trying to do that, you know, grow the town on a 7,500 square foot lots is where we need to start with, so we can even start spending money to move forward with this project. You know, putting it on a 10,000 square foot lot and saying we may approve it, you know, I understand that both sides here, but you know, it's not giving us anything to work with. It's not like we're on the best ground over there. We're gonna have to do blasting and putting roads in and underneath the railroad tracks and everything we've talked about before. It's not something it's not cheap to do that stuff. So to say that, you know, we may approve the PUD is just, I mean, that's kind of like the sky's the limit. We may do it, we may not.
We've already got one approval, right?
So this is the one that was not approved that we thought was, but
Is it in the wording?
Motion on it.
You made a motion? I'll second.
and yeah, to clarify what's before you, what we need to do at least one thing, and that's to establish the underlying zone. He still has the county zoning technically that was in place before, so he could develop it consistent with the county zoning, but the town needs to bring it under its zoning ordinance, and so we need to at least make an R1 or R3 recommendation for the underlying zone, and then decide if we want to include this as a multi-use overlay. But I think what we've talked about is a PUD overlay for this development. But to Mark's point, if we do an R3, Mark, you may have looked at it in more detail. I don't know that we would need a PUD overlay for that, but there's no harm in doing it that way.
What's for it to be in our best interest of R1?
I think that's correct, because after we had went through this with the others and had to go R3 to get the more condensed build out, that's why we came up with the planned urban development ordinance in the first place. Is just for this very thing, and the reason we didn't do it with others is because we didn't have one in place yet.
Mark, did you check on doing the addendum like you had talked about before? Because that was a big conversation that we had.
I think what we had talked about is, you know, maybe doing, just so they can move forward, talking about doing something that says we'll go R1, and this is something Todd will have to answer. We'll go R1 with a PUD contingent upon it being approved, and then if not, we would consider the R3 or something of that nature.
That was what we talked about. How it went down was that we were gonna actually talk about close to doing that, but if it comes back and you don't approve my PUD, then it needs to go back to an R3.
That
I'm
was
fine
what
with that, and that's what we talked about, but not maybe, if it may go back, or we may
We
go
can't
back to an
maybe
R3.
financially to go forward. I mean, we're bringing all the utilities, we're bringing the water.
I mean, we're trying to grow
cost.
everything here, and it feels like we're just hitting block walls every time we turn around. Is there some kind of problem? Now we got this paper says this, and every time we turn around it's this or that. I mean, it's like, do we want to grow? Do we want to develop it? Do we want to have city funding? Do we want to have money here in the city? I mean,
After we have had that underpass, this rough area anyway, it'd be nice to have something out there.
Does this ordinance, or is it in the wording, specify R1 or R3?
It doesn't, no.
This is
If we
the
need
step
to-
before that,
Well,
so-
no, we need to designate the underlying zone in this ordinance on first reading.
Oh, okay.
So that does need to be
So
clarified.
that's what
So
we're
you really
discussing
wouldn't
now.
be, you have time to get your plan to the planning commission the next meeting. And then by the time you come back on the second reading, you've got it, you're ready to go. Am I wrong? If you had R1 with the PUD would be at the,
Well, and what most jurisdictions that have PUDs, the way that they handle it is you have an underlying zone, say it's R1, and then if someone wants to request a PUD, they'll prepare a concept plan, and I understand it does cost money, but it's not a plat, so it's not an engineered plat that has to be submitted, but it's a concept plan that basically lays out the lots, the uses, what is going where, and then the town takes that, reviews it. If they like the plan, they say, okay, we'll approve that PUD overlay, and everything then that's passed after that has to be consistent with that concept plan. But you still have that underlying zone up until the plats are approved and it's developed. So yes, the developer does have some additional expense on the front end, but it's not the same thing as submitting a fully designed plat and not knowing whether it's going to get adopted. The other thing that we've talked about, I think, before, the main difference that I see between the R3 and the R1 is in the R3 you can do multifamily. There is a lot size difference, 7,500 to 10,000, but the R3 allows multifamily where the R1 does not. So,
and that's exactly what we're going to have, multifamily out there.
yeah.
But hasn't the planning commission already approved?
They did approve it. It's already, they
So
said,
they
they
approved
approved it.
R1?
No, they approved an R3.
R3.
I have mixed feelings on this. I understand both ways. I understand it's gonna go forward, either way we do this. I also understand that it's gonna cost him more. And the multifamily, that's townhomes, things like that, which is something we need. For all people like me.
Well, for people like, I have a 21-year-old son that cannot afford to live in this town. And we're not looking at building junk, we're looking at building nice housing. But when, I know people who can't afford to live here at all, and that's ridiculous. This is a nice town, we want to keep it a nice town, but
I second it.
Get a first and second in the discussion. Does anybody know what he,
No, what are we saying?
We're saying we're gonna pass it and it'll be on R3, right?
R3.
Or an R1. We gotta do one of those.
Yeah, which is the motion for R3?
I'll make a motion, R3.
I second.
motion second, any discussion on that? Any further? Call the roll.
Alderman Lord? Yes. Alderman Hill?
Yes.
Alderman Joyce?
Yes.
Alderman Bonneberry?
Yes.
Alderman Norton?
Yes.
Alderman Williams?
Yes.
Resolution 1834, surplus fire equipment. say a big deal.
I also don't remember, Mayor, I thought we already surplus everything.
Defective radios, stage turnout gear.
Yeah, I'm sorry, brain dead. It's old turnout gear that's, we can't use anymore for training, we can't even, I used to keep some old stuff to give to new people to send to the academy, but now they check it, it's too old, they can't go to the burn building, so it's not doing us any good.
You got some new stuff recently, had? You got
Yes, sir, we got a grant a couple
Right.
years ago, and we're in pretty good shape on that. We've been buying,
So we're really talking dispose.
yeah, I mean, it's
You pay your radio, they just not repairable.
correct, I can't get parts for them, no one will
I'll make
work
a
on
motion.
them.
Second. Any discussion? We have first and second.
Alderman Williams.
Yes.
Alderman Morton.
Yes.
Alderman Falconberry.
Yes.
Alderman Joyce.
Yes.
Alderman Hill.
Yes.
Alderman Lord. Yes.
This mutual aid agreement, resolution 1835. I read through this twice. I read something here about the Lewisburg Fire Department will receive mutual aid upon their request after receiving. Did they give it? If we request it?
Yes, sir, they will.
Okay.
Their chief has offered it multiple times, but anytime we need something from them, we can call them and they'll send,
We had one a long time ago. I never had one with them. That's the reason they
They've
got
always
that.
give a mutual aid agreement, I think, money, they, fire department.
I think
police department.
I think the last time they came to us was on Spring Creek. She was with her Mr. Gallagher's on.
Mhm.
This is something we need to do, Mayor. This is a good time.
This is, yes, this is something we need to do. I'll let Matt talk about it a little bit if he wants to, but this is actually an automatic response agreement more than it is a mutual aid agreement. Mutual aid is taken care of under TCA, and this would be, something in addition to, like I say, it's more of an automatic response agreement between departments.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
First and second, any more discussion?
Alderman Lawrence. Yes. Alderman Hill. Yes. Alderman Joyce.
Yes.
Alderman Falconberry.
Yes.
Alderman Morton.
Yes.
Alderman Williams.
Yes.
Resolution 1836. Dancing on the tub.
This was the third.
I got some questions about
Deferred.
that. I got
Okay, I'm
questions
sorry.
about that.
I'm sorry. Please.
Thank you.
Resolution 1837, waste management contract.
I have not received that contract, so we need to hold off on that.
What was that for, y'all? What kind of contract is that for?
We have to renew that every so often.
So let's put that on the
Yeah,
next.
I don't have a contract for us to approve.
Water filter contract. Resolution 1838.
I second.
First and second, any discussion of it?
You gotta do it.
Alderman Williams.
Yes.
Alderman Morton.
Yes.
Alderman Falconberry.
Yes.
Alderman Joyce. Alderman Hill.
Yeah.
Alderman Lord.
Other business.
When are we getting together to do the float? The Christmas float?
Well, I've
Or
been,
did it go to the wayside?
no, it hasn't gone to the wayside, but we may have to change the original idea, because I've been struggling getting what I need to.
What do you need?
I've asked everybody I could think of.
Y'all ain't asked me
What do
yet.
you need?
You know, motor home or a station wagon?
Yeah.
Nigga, what? What? I'm sorry.
Motor home or a station wagon?
What do you think, like a motorhome? I mean, it's too,
You
I'm
ever seen the
sorry,
movie The
yeah.
Griswold?
Yeah.
I was gonna say I had a camper up there, but I don't have that camper up there that my son bought to go fishing in that they really went down.
So I assume we'll be getting together in about a week, Brian. But maybe with a different idea.
Let me know. You need help floating or anything, I'm pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm working on that.
Well, I think, it didn't have to be that, but at least standing out there with, looking at the, that scene where they're looking at the,
I tried to wear the Cousin Eddie outfit and he said no.
I think we all need to worry about having a stocking and rainbow and walk the street.
We can pursue any idea that
Let's
anybody
discuss
wants.
that.
I walked last year in it.
Well, I promised y'all that we'd be out here before 7 o'clock.
Well, I've got
Okay, let's
one
go back to number 8.
Not again.
There you go.
number 8.
What number?
Okay, we're back.
I only have one more question. Did we select, what did we ever come with Citizen of the Year? Does BOMA do it, or?
That was voted on, and we're actually having a ceremony at the community center this Wednesday, I believe it is.
Are we allowed to?
Is it Thursday?
The 14th.
Thursday.
At what time?
6 maybe, does that sound right?
Are we
Will
allowed
that
to
be
know who?
publicized?
It has to remain a.
Okay, all right, okay, not a problem. I
We
just
usually
realized.
don't, it's usually a surprise to whoever gets it, so I don't wanna announce it.
When's it gonna be
Publicly.
Thursday?
But would it be publicized that it's gonna be announced that night? I mean, like, I wouldn't have been there on Thursday night.
Yeah, typically, I think how that's handled is like I say, since we gotta keep it secretive, Carolyn will be calling people and letting them know
The
that,
family of
Yeah.
the person.
yeah. And-
But
and
I mean, I'm just thinking about community, big people. I don't know who it is, but I'm
Yeah,
interested in going.
if we put anything out there publicly that that'll be announced there, then we take away the surprise of it.
I think that.
Sorry, I didn't think about that. Sorry.
Let's set the, might be fun to show up and see the kids.
I'm going to see my grandchildren this weekend, sorry.
It's on Thursday.
One of them has a concert on Thursday night, and one of them has one on Sunday.
You got a long way to go.
It's gonna be short and sweet. What are we gonna do about this water?
Our options are kind of
We'll have to do it.
Well, we need to be letting some people know if we gonna raise this water rates up. We gonna wait on this other survey to come back that they're gonna do before we make a decision on this, or when do we make the decision on this?
I think that it would be best to kind of know exactly what route we're going, how we're gonna structure it. And then once we know a little bit better how we might structure it, how it might impact different people, then put a letter out, like you said, to everyone saying that this is what we're looking at and this is when it might take effect. And if you wanted to put something together where people, before we do it, have an opportunity to come in and say something. If you want to do a town hall, I mean, we can do whatever we feel like doing to get them informed and, get them an opportunity to comment.
Well, I do think we need to make it an effort to
Can there be a note? to
cut
water bill?
costs as we go on. I mean, I know you're gonna have to raise your rates, but, I think from now on, we need to look for ways to run the departments very efficiently. And that should be something,
When we grow, it's gonna grow, it has to grow with it. I understand that. We might end up with 3 more employees before it's over with there. Which I hope we don't, but in the future we probably will be. Y'all will look back at what the person that come up here and wanted to buy this thing. Let him have this headache, or do you want to continue having
Let
it?
him raise our rates.
Yeah, let him jack up the rates real good for that
Still
weather.
gonna hit
That's a good
Still gonna
idea.
hit Chapel Hill. whatever reason.
Our rates are going up, whether we.
Well, I
do it or
understand that. I understand whether we do it or they do it.
Yeah.
But
But we have control over it.
well, we got to control it
Yeah.
now, but we may not have it 2 months, 3 months from now when the state comes and says, no, your
We
rate's
won't
gonna
have
go
it.
up
Oh,
40%.
we
We don't have control now, we have to do it. We're
You know,
out of
we have the
control.
way control of how to structure it.
Yes.
But I
And
just wish-
protect those people that are least able to
The
apply.
insane hike is because we didn't get ahead of it.
Well, the same height is, nobody around the state knew it was gonna happen to them. 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it seems like it's kind of funny, it snuck right up on the bit us right, on the yang yang.
But we did know for 3 years, eh? The community knew for 3 years that we were losing
Nobody
money.
told Jackie King.
Then that's somebody else's fault.
In looking back, which is always easy, can you point out the red flags that, I mean, I realize everything goes up, like you said, the price of bread goes up. But are there some decisions that back in the back, I'm not pointing my finger at you necessarily, that a different decision might have changed this, or is it just what happened?
I don't think so, because I think what our primary issue is what we've talked about for a while, which is the economies of scale. Because we're gonna have to do these projects, some we're already committed to and some we don't even know what they are yet, like wastewater capacity. We haven't even touched on that one yet. We just don't have enough customers to spread that cost over. So when you're talking about a $2, $3, $4 million worth of projects and you have 10,000 customers, it's not that big of a deal when you talk about your rates. When you have 700 customers and you talk about $2, $3 million, it's a massive increase on your rates. So it's just the situation that we're in. It's not any decision past, present by anybody that's been made right or wrong. That's just our reality.
Well, what is how does this tie in with the fact that we don't have any water? Does that make this situation worse, or when we find an alternate water source, will that
And
keep
what's
it
the
from getting
status
worse?
of that too? I mean, how are we
Yeah, where
moving
are we
along
at?
with Marshall County?
Right now, we're not buying water.
Yeah, but we're
Yes, we are.
but I mean, not as much as we do in the summertime. But I actually had a conversation with Tommy Whaley a couple of weeks ago, and we think it's a good idea to put in writing that we're wanting to. We verbally said that we're going to go in with them on this project. They're moving forward. They're moving forward with their conversations with Columbia Power and Water, and we think it's a good idea to go ahead and put it in writing that we're committed to this project on 31A. That was the projects that were included in this rate study. One of the $1 million projects in there was that project where we're in with the county on 31A. The other $1 million project was as we have to provide more water, we're about to run out of capacity as far as state regulations on our storage with our tanks. So we're going to end up sometime within the next 3-5 years, not sure exactly when, building another storage tank of some kind. So that was where that other $1 million projection came from in the water, and then the $350 on the sewer was the project that we're committed to on the north side to get sewer up to Crutcher Road, and then we're guessing at another $1 million on wastewater capacity, which that might be $500,000 and that might be $3 million. We just don't know right now. I think it's a good idea to go ahead and get in writing with the county that we're going to commit to this project here, because that's kind of the only thing we got going, and it's by far the cheapest thing or the least expensive thing that we can do to guarantee us to have more water here. It doesn't completely get us out of the woods because we still don't control the source, but I don't know how we can control the source ourselves and stay within any kind of reasonable rate you know, like we're talking about. Because if we go after a straw in the river on our own or something like that, it becomes completely unattainable without partners.
And what's the comparison with the proposal from whatever that company is?
Tennessee Water. I don't know exactly. What they've brought to us has been very, very high level. Haven't got down into the details yet. They are wanting to come and present to the boards whatever their suggestions and ideas are, and let y'all consider that. And I can set that up, at some point over the next month or so if you want me to.
So we gotta make a decision if we go up.
Well, I'd like to compare how much it would cost the
Right.
customers, each route we got.
Yeah, we can control it now, but if we send it to another country, we've lost all control of it. I mean, we don't have anything to say about it.
They do whatever they want.
They do whatever they want to. We control it now, but it seems like it's hitting us all at one time.
Yeah.
And it's kind of hard to digest it right quick. But we need to sit down and think about it, and we need to get that in here pretty quick so we can get on it.
Is there not ways you could put letters letting people know in their water bill?
I don't like to send a water bill with an envelope. I get a bill from Town of Chapel, and something from Town of Chapel,
Doesn't have enough room to.
I throw it in there. I don't know whether that water bill's in there or not. You gotta send it separate.
I can get a note on the water bill that says for information on water rates, check our website or something, something like that. Or
We can't make them read it, can't make them.
it's the same place we put Merry Christmas or whatever.
Just when they either come out.
I looked at that number and then I couldn't.
Merry Christmas.
That's it.
Look at your water rates.
Yeah, and Happy New Year.
But yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
But they come out with
The water bill's
I can try to set it up where
I
that.
missed the
Oh,
whole
yeah,
rig
put it on
system.
that.
You have it set up for next
Can you
month.
put a public notice out?
Or before.
And
I'll
I'd
try
like
to
to
set it
get a
up
red pencil
either before or
Wanna
the
do
next
a
month
public
meeting.
notice or send one out or?
Anybody else got anything?
I do. I
Go ahead.
hope the town gets a team together for the trivia night in January. It's always a fun night. We'd like to invite.
What is that?
Well, what is it?
That is one of the most fun things.
I'm
If I had a
trying
mind, Bert was asking me the other night about.
It's a fun night, and I hope that we have a big group because it's a scholarship fund. It's January the 26th, trivia night. The town has sponsored a team in the past. I think it's $72 a team. That includes your meal.
Where's this at, Miss?
It'll be at the auxiliary gym or whatever that new gym is called.
How many are on a team typically?
Pardon?
How many are on a team?
There's 6 on a team. You come up with one answer. There's 10 questions per round. Silly things. I make the questions. One year it was just pictures of things like the Michelin Man, and you're telling that's Michelin tires. It's not. It's
One year was Broadway plays.
Well,
Sometimes she's acting like it's easy. No.
It's not easy, but it is fun. So when you come up with one answer for all 6 people, and the way to be successful is you need old people and young people with all varying interests.
And a sports person.
You probably need a sports person sometimes, so you never know.
Adjourn, Jack.
Anybody, y'all got anything else? Fire chief, y'all got anything? Chief Con, y'all got anything y'all need to bring up? Anybody back there?
I just want to say the trick or treat at the police fire station was delightful. And next year could go. And trying to get those parents to buckle those children in the car. Coming to the
You can't
police
get the parents
station.
to take their phones out of their ears, come through the school door.
Well, they're going trick or treating.
They know they're going to the police
I don't know,
station
but
though.
somebody ran the stop sign on Lawrence Avenue news this afternoon. I did read that.
Wood County.
I saw that.
I saw that. They were
Wood County,
No.
got a motion to adjourn?
I do.
Got a
They
second?
didn't stop for
Marion
once.
second.
Yeah, I said-
All approved, say aye.
License plate where they live right on my heart.
No,
How'd you
I
know that
missed the
that's
whole
everything?
thing about Rex's. I heard about it when I went to get my hair cut that morning, then we went somewhere. I think that, read it,
Maybe they don't take it up.